Coming at you with a brand new episode of Rage Across the Internet. Hey everybody, this is Porter. I got Daniel Tyson with me.
Heyo.
And a little something different today. We let producer Joey have a little bit of time off and felt that Danny needed some more responsibility around here. So it's actually producer Daniel Tyson. And in his seat, we have a special guest with us today. We've got our buddy Billy. Billy, who I would say our very first fan. Say a little hi, Billy.
How's it going? I am excited to be the whipping boy today and give Danny a day off from that.
Well, thanks, because I don't need any more responsibilities.
What we got here is our very first, we're going to call a live show. We are coming at you straight from Discord instead of Summer Rain Studio. And so while there are the three of us on mic, we also have our friend Anthony here in the chat. And we have a series of questions left by Strides of the Dark, another one of the members of our Discord family. And today we're going to be talking about Sept building because that's what I said.
Yeah, I don't see why not. It's your show.
All right. So let's start at the start. You know, a Sept is, I am sure all of us know, but for shits and grins, is a group of Garu living together. Now, Danny, is that the same thing as a Cairn?
No, it is not.
But Cairns have Septs, right?
Cairns have Septs, yes, but they're still not the same.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, a Sept is, really could be anywhere. It's more of a gathering of Garu.
Like an embarrassment or a flock.
Yeah, I can go that way, yeah, sure.
Perhaps a murder?
Usually murders can happen, sure.
I think there definitely are murders, but I don't know if they comprised of... What are we talking about?
Is it like a town hall?
That's a good one. That
is a good way to put it. A Sept is the term for just a group of Garu who are living together in close proximity. So usually that is around a Cairn to protect the Cairn, but it's not necessarily around a Cairn. So you can have a Sept without a Cairn, but you generally can't have a Cairn without a Sept.
Correct. And again, we're going Cairn, not a Karen, because we don't need the manager.
But is there a manager?
I mean, I guess it depends on which Sept, maybe even which Karen or Cairn you're in.
And hey, I didn't scroll my thing properly, so we also have Thunder from Down Under here in the chat as well. Good to see you. I do that. I just couldn't see it on my list, so I wasn't leaving you out.
No, we got questions for him too. That's awesome. But again, hold on to them because we'll get to them. We promise.
Yeah, it's where to start.
Oh man, jeez. So as far as Sept building, where do we start?
Well, I got a question because I haven't actually played this game in a long time. So I've kind of understood a Sept as kind of like, I think I confused it with like a moot, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, you want to think of moots like business meetings.
Right, right.
And in fact, let's use the Glass Walker as an example, because this is probably the easiest version of it, is, a moot would be a business meeting. And let's assume, for the sake of argument, this particular Cairn is in a hotel. The Garu who are living in that hotel would be the Sept.
Okay. I know it doesn't translate well over radio, but the light bulb just came on over my head when you said that.
Ooh, if we do more of these live shows, we're gonna have to get some drops. We're gonna have to have that light bulb noise. We're gonna have to have some other drops. That's gonna have to happen.
That's a good idea. I'm writing that down.
And you understand, you can't let me in control of them, right?
Oh no. I mean, you're not producer and host Porter. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, soundboard is always in the producer's hands, always.
Pro host or Porter, though. Anthony says, it's a question immediately in front of me, and I want to read it. So there. He says, according to the book, like each Cairn, every Sept is different. What are some radically different Septs you've ran into or ran yourself? Well, that is a great question that is immediately in my eye line, so it got read.
fancy how that happens.
Right. Also, it's a great springboard to something I want to talk about. Uh-huh.
Well, it is your show.
Yeah, well, that's why you saved that one specifically, I'm sure.
No, really, it just popped in my line. So I have 3 Septs that I have. I mean, I've created smaller ones here and there, but I think there are 3 that merit being talked about. And they're different enough that I think they'd make some decent examples. We have the Sept of the Sweet Summer Rain, which is the main one that these knuckleheads are running out of in Jersey.
Yep, that's hometown. Yeah, in New Jersey.
Yep, we've got which no one here is from New Jersey, so
no.
That's part of the appeal, frankly.
That, and I believe you said it in a previous episode too, that you don't make your settings around where you live, because you just confuse them.
Well, it's a bad idea. I mean, you can, but you have to know the area like the back of your hand, because as soon as you say something that doesn't match up to reality, you have pulled your group out of reality.
Right.
Or you've pulled them out of the game.
And there's always going to be that one person that wants to be right all the time. It's like, oh, no, Broad Street and Maple don't intersect there. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
But see, even if they don't want to be the know-it-all person, their mind's going to do that anyway, because they're picturing that. They know where Maple goes. They drive down Maple every fucking day. And now you're inventing crossroads, and there's a disconnect, and they don't know what the hell to do.
Right.
So sorry, go back to your answer. I apologize for interrupting.
Oh, for being a weak structure here, we're just all over the place. How dare you?
Seems
that wasn't exactly this show, was it?
Maybe a little bit.
All right. Yeah. So there's the Summer Rain over in Jersey, and then the Sept of the Scratching Wolf down in Delacroix, Louisiana, which is run by Mosquito. That's a fun time. And then, I guess the White Eagle over in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Now, you've said that Mosquito runs your Scratching Wolf, and we mentioned, I think it was probably last week, we said Kinderheart runs the Sweet Summer Rain.
Did we?
It was at least mentioned.
And
again, if you want to explain who Kinderheart is.
I really don't. Kinderheart is the crappy homebrew totem that I came up with 20-something years ago, and for some reason didn't revisit very much. And I'm kind of embarrassed about the name of it, and I don't know why I never fixed it over the years. I just didn't.
And it's fine. I don't mind it.
It's lazy.
It's fine.
It's like 3 times better than anything I would have come up with, so...
Not only that, but if you really want to put more effort into your games, there's probably other areas you can do that into. You don't have to be so much specific on your totem.
And look, it was just one of those things where I've done so many tweaks and things over the years that for some reason it's something I never went back to fix. And they just wish I had.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's probably a dumb question, but what about the White Eagle?
What the hell, Danny?
I mean, go ahead.
It's right. No, obviously it's right there. You've got Eagle.
Not gonna give any info about him or anything. Just Eagle.
He's bald.
Freedom.
Thanks. So, obviously those are 3 different places, and 3 very different Septs, though. You've got the Delacroix Sept it's out in the bayou. It's a sparsely populated Sept, and it uses a lot of the local folklore to keep it hidden. You get. I want to install you with this picture of it's on this island out there in the bayou, and there's this giant fucking willow tree that just covers the whole island. Maybe like a little mist coming off it way in the distance. It's that haunted island all the kids fucking talk about. No one likes, there's so many gators. No one likes to go over there. You don't go there. And they use that as their defenses. Sorry, go ahead, Billy.
No, I was just going to say, so when you make these Septs, you come up with a theme for the Sept that fits in with the local geography?
I think it's really important to do that. Yeah. Because I mean, it's one thing to just go, oh, well, what do I like? You know, and I think it's something I've said a long time is you can't just write whatever you want. It's got to be within the confines of the world around it. So, you know, you look at New Orleans, and I think the bayou is a great natural defense. You know, that you can't get there without a swamp boat.
Right. Very true.
You know, and then, you know, I thought the imagery of that giant tree just cascading all over this little island, and then like you get to the island and you go under there and it's way different, but you just get that image, and I think that alone could be something that is going to deter people and whip up like a sense of mystery and wonder to the locals.
Well, it definitely paints a picture, you know, for sure.
You know, and then even the name, you know, I think everything matters. You look at the Scratching Wolf, you know, it's obviously the totem's mosquito. I think I mentioned that, and that also factors into the part of the defenses. See, as you're taking your swamp boat out there, slowly but surely, the people on that boat will get swarmed by this cloud of mosquitoes. You know, it swarms to them and it lands on every inch of exposed flesh.
Oh, I remember that. We were first. Oh man, the first thing we had to do was roll willpower to not slap one of the mosquitoes trying to bite us.
But that's the thing, is they didn't bite unless you slapped them.
Right.
So you're sitting there for like 2 or 3 turns, and I'm just making willpower rolls to see if you can handle every inch of your skin being covered with mosquitoes.
Oh man, I remember that. That was nuts.
I wasn't even in that game, and you're taking me back to my time down in Louisiana.
Hey, all right. You know, I'm doing something right there. And I mean, that's how that Sept got its name. Is one day early in the Sept, the guy who would become warder absentmindedly slapped at one and spent the next month as the Scratching Wolf.
Interesting. So, okay, well, then, Porter, you were saying that question was going to springboard into something else.
Then I wasn't paying attention.
What do you mean you weren't paying attention? You had that question specifically because you wanted that one to spring into something else.
I wanted to talk about the 3 Septs.
Okay.
It was in my eye line, and, you know, like I had some meat. If no one had a question, I still had 3 Septs I could talk about, was the thing.
Okay. You went into the Sept down in Louisiana, which I appreciate, and I know you might be hesitant to talk about the Sweet Summer Rain because it's in your current chronicle that you're telling. So, what about the one out in, was it New Mexico?
Yeah, I'd actually be happy to. Sorry, I just saw the new question, the new comment. Nice, Thundra. I'd be more than happy to talk about the submarine, but yeah, we could talk about the White Eagle too. The White Eagle is probably the least developed of the 3, and you know, it's set out in I said Albuquerque. It's closer to Alamogordo. You know, it's at this weird. There's and I guess I don't need to bore anyone so much with details, but you have Albuquerque, and then there's the subdivision of it called Los Lunas, which is a real place. I thought that was rad as shit. And then it's right there, the White Sands Desert.
Okay.
So that's where the White Eagle is, and it has this unfortunate disposition of being near that old nuclear testing grounds. You know, Alamogordo is not a fun place to be as a guy in. That's just Bad News Bears. So it's a busy damn Sept, and it's in a dangerous location. Alternatively, that's a Sept that deals with a lot of problems coming out of Albuquerque, and a Sept that has sprung up in the Los Lunas area that kind of has no business being there.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Well, I know, David, we talked a bit about that, where you know, you had and it's called the Stonebridge Sept, the one in Los Lunas.
Right.
And, you know, why do you have a Sept, not a cairn, but a Sept, smack dab in the middle of 2 cairns in this area, this Los Lunas? It's a damned it's a subdivision. You know, it's the you're in the burbs. There you go, the burbs.
Right. Yeah, I know you're going with Suburbia there. And yeah, I don't have an answer for it, but that was always a curiosity of mine, though. It, yeah, it's pretty much dead center in those two, right?
Right. And there's no logical reason for it to be there. And I mean, that's something else. And it's not really about set building, so I should probably shut my fucking craw about it. And I know it's also not something I'm going to run with you guys, so I could talk about it, you know?
I mean, we also don't want to just bring something up and then never mention it again, so if it's something maybe you can just do quickly, go for it.
Well, how about we ask everyone if they give a rat's ass?
I'm definitely curious.
All right. People want to. All right, we'll talk about it. See, this is nice.
Anthony's chiming in. I'm sorry, but Anthony's chiming in chat too, saying that he's all for it. So
excellent. Yeah, that's nice having this instant feedback. You're like, shut up about this, Porter. Fucking who cares? Or
I don't think anyone's going to ever say shut up about it. Give me the next one. They want to hear everything you have to say.
You have guaranteed someone's going to say shut up about it. Give me the next one.
I hope so.
You son of a bitch. Okay. Yeah, okay, though. I wanted, it's not exactly a topic, but who cares? This is our live show, and this is what's going to happen. Okay. Yeah, this was, this was a game I started that I was going to do online years ago, and it didn't pan out because the game started in like 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks after it. The school season started, and half of my players were parents. So suddenly no one had time to run the game anymore because they had to finagle their children to get them, to do that kind of stuff. But the idea is the players would work out of this Sept, this Stonebridge Sept, working for a glasswalker who is a retired police captain named Henry Carver. And Carver, he had his setup. This guy, he's one of the, pitch it kind of like Archie Bunker in Lawrence Tierney from Reservoir Dogs.
Cool.
Yeah, Carver, hard boiled, he ain't fucking around. And, he bought an apartment complex, which was called, the subdivision was called, the Stonebridge, apartments or whatever. And so like the big building, like the biggest building there, he had kind of hollowed out, and that's where his boys were. The packs that worked for him lived there and worked there. And worked is the thing, because he would pay his people. I looked at it like the Garu Nation if you replaced spirituality with commerce, and that was kind of Carver's thing. And here he is smack dab between the White Eagle Sept and the Albuquerque Sept, which name escapes me right now because we were early on, it was early development. And he had a hard-on for this Albuquerque Sept. It was run by a bone gnar named Eddie Kane, who was a long and well-known criminal. He was a drug kingpin, at least to the world at large, Yeah, that's how he was known anyway. And so Carver would send his people, and this is the players, on these missions, and they would all be in Albuquerque. They'd all be in that territory. And sometimes you'd be doing very clear good works, like, hey, we found this motherfucker. We've been tracking this piece of shit Black Spiral, and we found him. He's here, and sometimes they weren't. And he'd be sending you on these morally gray missions. And in the meantime, you have the White Eagle, who are tolerant of Carver. Like they're working with them, but no one's happy about it.
So is it more like a mob boss situation?
Well, he's. I don't want to make the comparison to Vic Mackey. Like, I don't want to go all shield with it.
Okay.
But he was a good cop, but like in the 50s.
Okay.
But he was still running shit as a cop. Again, when I say that commerce over spirituality, is there's something about being a guy that just never clicked with him, and I'm a cop, and that's how we're going to run shit. But this was the big question to me, right? And I wanted it to be the big question to the players, is what the hell is this Sept doing here? What's the real end game on this? And it was the big problem for me to solve as I was writing this chronicle. and how that ended up. It dawned on me, and I just I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop laughing when I finally figured it out. Is that in their younger years, Eddie Kane was the collar he couldn't get.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't some lofty goal. It wasn't that Eddie Kane was secretly corrupted. It wasn't that, he was really running drugs on the streets or anything. It wasn't that he was even this secret. I mean, he was a shitty guy, but what do you do? He wasn't like some evil force. He's just a bonar, man. But he was the one that Carver couldn't throw in jail.
Gotcha. Now, I thought of a question while you were telling that story. When you're building the Sept and you're determining what the purpose of the Sept is that informed by the themes of the Sept based on location, or do you build the expectation based on the NPCs that you've created to populate that Sept? Does that question make sense?
I think so.
I think it's a little bit of both.
It is a little bit of both. For me, I think it's the Sept first. The case with Carver was a special case because I was very fascinated with this idea of this Sept that shouldn't have been there and why it was. And like I said, once I realized that it wasn't a lofty goal, it was just this pathetic old man with an axe to grind. Really brought it home for me.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh. Did that answer your question? Holy shit.
Well, no, it did. I mean, I know, like I said, I've never run Werewolf. I've run other games in past history. So there's always a little bit of mix of this and that, and you keep trying things till they work. I just didn't know if you had a set way. Do you do character first and then Sept, or Sept and then NPCs to help reinforce the theme of the Sept? So you basically answered the question for me.
All right, good. Excellent. I didn't even know I did it. I made it happen. Look out, guys.
All right, well, I'm going to read one of Strides' questions here for you, Porter.
Yes, B questions are, Danny. I am far too irresponsible to handle those.
Well, I'll start right from the beginning, one of his very first ones. What roles, I'm assuming for the Septs, what roles are good player characters to assume without making it all about politicking and never leaving the cairn?
I'm a bad guy. I don't like to hand out Sept roles for my players for that reason. A Guardian pack can be a good position. Questing pack, if you're in a position that your Sept can have a questing pack, there you go. Problem fucking solved. Though there are, little crap positions like Keeper of the Land, which is really a nothing position. And that could be good because what you could do there, it's only one person. So you can have this, situation where you have the Keeper in the Land, and that's someone in that pack. And to be clear, that's basically the garbage man. It's
the assistant to the regional manager.
It kind of is.
Assistant to the regional manager, yes.
You're going to have, Fool's Ransom is the Keeper of the Land, and basically his job is to pick up Dead Man Dempsey's cigarette butts. So, but now it's a Sept position, right?
Right.
So he's all proud of himself, like, look how important he is, because he does technically have a Sept position, and then you could have the rest of the pack in a position to just fuck with them because it's a crappy one, and they're now in a position to make his life more miserable because he has that authority.
Right, exactly.
No, how about security?
Well, I mean, that comes into a Guardian pack.
Right. Well, I was thinking more like at the front door kind of thing. Obviously, they don't have a door, but
the way I kind of see it is like if you start talking about taking spots in a Sept, positions of authority, you're not really playing werewolf anymore. You're kind of playing vampire.
Oh, shame on you.
Well, I don't mean it like that, but like werewolf is a game of to me. The werewolf is a game of personal honor and renowned and becoming well known amongst the guru, but it's not necessarily about becoming an elder. It's not necessarily about sitting on a council somewhere. It's about it's like the old Viking thing where you want people to remember your name and sing songs about you.
Well, I think there's room for both. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you, but I think there's more to it. I think if your characters are getting that old, that they're in a position where, oh, maybe it's time to start taking a Sept role. If it were me. Now, I haven't had a group that has gotten to that point yet, but let's say for shits and grins that our very own Bitches and Brews pack got to rank 4, and they're like, hey, we are somehow still alive, and Danny's hunter still has the one arm, and he's like, I want to keep it.
Yeah, I don't want to lose this one too.
Right, and so they decide to take up Sept positions. I would run that Chronicle and make it miserable.
Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of my point. At that point, you're not really. Oh, I mean, you're a werewolf, but are you?
You're not doing anything anymore. Life is boring.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing, and there's still shit to do. There's, there are tales to tell. There's the new generation to train. There is shit to do.
As long as you're useful. As long as you're still useful.
Certainly. But yeah, I think that would be the theme, is that how I would run it is they would get bored. Because what do you do all day now?
Yeah, I mean, are you really training that younger pack? Are you really watching over Bond and watching and making sure the other pack is doing Bond detail? That sounds pretty boring.
You farmed it out. Well, there we go. You farm it out, but see, I think the real thing to do there is, and I would do the short chronicle, 5 or 6 stories, just to prove the point that you're bored now. But what I would have everyone do is roll new characters, and then those existing characters, they get shuffled off to NPC world, where maybe in this new game they're the elders and the new characters are working under their old characters. Who knows?
Yeah,
I like that.
All right, so since we mentioned Bond, there is a question. We're going to go from Anthony's question here. Speaking of Bond, how do you typically handle Garou crossing at Bond? Like, do you attach particular scents?
That's a good question. I like that. I should, but have not. I think maybe I've gotten lazy on that with the summer rain.
I mean, if you have, it's because we have too.
I mean, thanks.
I mean, I'm being honest at that point. I mean, because in our Sept, or in our Bond detail, we'll be running Bond detail, but we also learned that we probably don't need to.
Well, you learned that. I don't think the characters did, unless someone said something and I forgot. That's entirely possible.
And it's probably, but that doesn't mean we're not going to do our job, because that's what we were told to do.
Yeah, at least in the home Sept, the summer rain, because again, I run every Sept is different, but in the summer rain, there's going to be a pack that is on Bond detail at all times, and it's their job to run 3/4 of the Bond until their shift is over, and it's usually a 6 to 8 hour shift, depending on how kind the elders are feeling, which is ultimately pointless, because there are other means of which that the Sept is being guarded that the elders have not told the other people about. But the purpose of this is not because, the Clients are so fucking good at, scaring away infiltrators. It's that they need to learn how to do it.
I think it's a pretty solid answer. Hopefully, Anthony, that answered it for you.
Oh, definitely. That is something that does happen. You will get the howl of announcement coming from foreign Garou, provided they're not hopping in via Moonbridge. That's absolutely something that happens. And there have been times I have punished players for forgetting to make a howl announcement.
You know what? I'm jumping in on this one, because
Go nuts.
Well, taking a single step into Bond before the howl of announcement got me a spear to the stomach. And yes, it should have happened, but at the same time, I was also leaving that responsibility on our alpha to make that howl, and that didn't happen, so I took the spear.
Oh yeah,
you remember that? Yep.
Yeah, because the running gag there was that Stands with the Long Shadows aim was off.
Yeah, that was because someone had to give me Mother's Touch, and then that was the joke, was his aim must be off. He only hit you in the stomach.
Yeah, I had fun with that.
But again, the howl should have been announced, and it wasn't. And I knew that, and I was waiting, and I'm the one who took the punishment for it.
I think one of my favorite examples of that, ironically, it was at the same Sept, but this was back in my Virginia game with the Sleight of Claw pack. And what had happened is I had just done, and I've talked about this at a previous episode, that this little Umbra Lost in the Umbra 4-parter, where I did the dessert thing at the end, and everyone's like, when do I get gifted the Spriggan? And I'm like, never.
Yep.
That made it to air, right? That yes. I didn't just have to stroke at you guys.
No, it was one of the first ones though, so it's fine.
Yeah, that was a while ago. But
all right, well, yeah. So they were good. There was that Umbra 4-parter, and they were gone quite some time because they're lost in the fucking Umbra. So they get home, and they're like, "Oh, thank God we're home." But like they came the long way around, so they're just exhausted, and they're coming in through the bond, and they're coming in at a weird side just because of how they got home, and they're just walking and tired, and they get completely ambushed by these two get offenders they've never seen before.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's got to scare the shit out of them.
Oh, yeah. Like the one, it's a pack of 3. And the one he had the huge size Barrett, he'd got the drop on them. And like he went to Krytos, has them by their throats with their faces shoved in the snow. He's got a knee on each of their backs. The other one takes the alpha. He's got a blade to her throat. Stilfrau. And he does, he lets out the howl to let everyone know. And what happens is you get the whole Sept shows up. Because this isn't a Sept, at least at that time, that was known. And it was very well traveled. So why are there people here? Everyone, let's come find out.
So everyone was on high alert then?
They weren't on high alert. They're just like, what the shit? We gotta see what's going on. We never have a breach. What's happening here? So
it was more of a surprise that it was happening.
Exactly. It's let's go see the train wreck. What's going on here?
The train wreck.
And, so everyone else, these are NPCs that everyone knows. These are their friends. And you've got, it's so good to see you. It's so good to see you, and then you have, Deadman Dempsey shows up and he's like, oh shit, we thought you were dead. Like here's they're trading money over. You're like, oh shit, I owe you $50. They lived after all.
Taking bets.
And it was actually one of my very favorite NPC, character moments during that is you had Butchers in the Shadows, who is the beta of the Rabies and Shades pack.
Right.
And he's leaning against one of the trees. And again, he's looking at these kids who disappeared 3 months ago, who everyone thought was dead, and there they are alive. And he's looking at them for a second, and then something catches the corner of his eye, and it's one of the wolf kinfolk of the Sept chawing on a deer. And his full attention just diverts. That moment that this is how much of a shit I give about the fact that these kids are still alive, that I'm going to watch this wolf eat instead.
They meant that little to him at that point.
It's just what was in my heart at the time. It wasn't scripted or nothing, but it's just one of my very favorite moments of like, that's Butchers in the Shadows right there. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a hand.
Oh yeah. I mean, what was it? I'm trying to remember. There was a part where someone says, hey, to Butchers in the Shadows, and he says, he holds up one finger, give me a minute here while he's reading his book, and then never stops reading his book. Just continues.
Yes, that happened in game. That was the Vidoma Amon's player. She waited 20 minutes before she took the hint.
Oh, man.
That was real time, folks.
Not game time. Real time?
She was just waiting for him. And, he's not going to address me again. Okay, got it. But it wasn't the question at all. I'm sorry. I just got a little fun.
It's fine. Here. I mean, this is the live show. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a train wreck. It's going to be fun. Also, we have our buddy Kath joined us in the room here, so we're giving a little wave to you here.
All right. Bill, you want to read next question?
Oh, yeah. Way to put me on the spot like that. I didn't have one prepped at all.
Pick the next
Here
one.
you go. Here you go. Here's the next question. What is the question that Billy is going to read on air?
You son of a bitch. He's learning.
Okay, this one's from Thunder. This is from Thunder, and it's a short and sweet one, which means I like asking this question. How much do you like to go against a tribe stereotype?
I don't know if it's something I like, as so much as something I kind of do enough of the time. I don't know, half the time.
Gotcha. Is it just to like explore maybe another facet of the tribe that isn't thought of? Like you get this whim, it's like, I wonder how this would go, and you kind of take off with that, or?
Well, sometimes, and that's a fantastic answer. So you're welcome, everybody. Good night.
Does it depend on the character?
It depends on the character, and I mean, here's the thing, and this is something I've been adamant about: is we're all just fucking people, man. You might be a Get Fenris, but that doesn't mean that you've drank all the Get Fenris Kool-Aid, or the Get Aid, perhaps as it would be called.
The Get Aid, yes.
The Get Aid.
Gatorade. There you go.
Oh shit, he did it.
Even better.
He did it. The Gatorade. It's done. Cut and print. That's going in the store.
Yes. That's going on Ragabash Rags.
Jesus.
I like how we got a thing and then we're spawning competition and it's like the same people. That's fantastic.
It's not competition. It's in support. Come on.
I think it's more fun the other way. I'm going to answer the question.
There you go. Why don't we do that?
How dare you?
You guys are sitting here for it too. I love you guys. Thank you for being here.
So much fun.
I hope you guys are having fun. We're having fun with this nonsense. They're all just people, and you can buy into the tribal rhetoric or you could not. And that's really up to the person. It's the same way that, I like to roll auspices rather than decided auspice, because you could your whole life have grown up drawing. It was something I did. My whole, as I thought I was an artist growing up. I was going to be in comics, motherfuckers. I'm going to draw Wolverine for a living. How exciting is that? And I got to art school and I learned something, is that I'm not the very good artist.
I don't know, man. I've seen some of your artwork and it's impressive.
That's very sweet, but it's not professional stuff. I'm not good enough. And I'm not crying myself. What I did learn is that I am a good writer. So I leaned into something that I liked doing that I turned out to be much better at. And that's kind of where I'm going with auspices. Maybe the character loves to play the guitar. Music has been his whole life, except you're an around, so too fucking bad, because no one in the nation is going to judge you about how well you play your little guitar song. What's the battle strategy? And I feel the same thing holds true for tribes, is that you don't necessarily have to drink that Kool-Aid. Now, sometimes you might want to lean into somebody, lead into that noble leader, Silver Fang, who can't breathe poor people air. Maybe you want to dive into the stereotype of that drunken half-dwarf cliche D&D character, William Wallace man, that I'm already irritated talking about. Maybe that's a thing you want, but maybe you're proving a point with it. It really just depends. It depends on the character and on the person that character is. Because we're all different, man.
Oh, yeah. Because, going back to playing at 11 and 12, I played the same character for years. Not the same character, but every character I made was just an extension of that first character for a long time. And it wasn't until I really got my role-playing legs where it's like, okay, let's try something different. Let's let the game decide for me what I'm going to play and see if I can grow into that role.
For me, that's a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because you learn stuff. You learn stuff about yourself. You learn stuff about your character. It's awesome.
All right. So, are you ready for the next question then, Porter?
Oh, let's go crazy, yeah.
All right. This one's from Thunder. Thunder from Down Under. Do nomadic Septs exist?
They could. The Striders aren't... and of course I go to Striders. I don't know who else would do it. But, they're not well known for congregating in large groups, but I suppose it could.
Actually,
this was something cool. Danny, help me out. Did Stargazers air?
Yes, it did.
Okay, cool. I don't know if I talked about it on Stargazers, so I think maybe that question was completely pointless. But there's a right in that book, and in the gist of it is it allows the Stargazer to absorb a cairn, and like it's slowly killing him because you can't contain that. You're not supposed to contain that type of energy. You're mortal, for fuck's sake. You can't do it. So you're on borrowed time. But the idea is it's like some sort of last resort thing to move a cairn to keep it from being taken. You can move it somewhere else. And again, big deal, right? This is like a level 1 thing. And I could see a scenario where like you could base a chronicle around that, around maybe there's this ancient cairn that they've got the Stargazer to, and maybe it's going to help solve the secrets of the Strider's curse. And you have this Sept that's surrounding this one Garu, which is now a mobile Sept because they're searching for the right place to transplant it before the guy dies. But I mean, that's just off the top of my head. But but I don't know what else you'd do with that, I guess is my answer.
Well, I mean, that's some conspiracy stuff right there. That's awesome.
Or Battlestar Galactica, the werewolf. I mean, they're looking for a place to colonize. You're looking for a place to move the cairn.
I hate that was so apt to what I just said.
Sorry. That's what I do.
I mean, you got me. Shit.
I just want to thank you for both my first and last time on the show.
Nice.
And for some reason, I'm not even allowed to be in Discord chat. I just got kicked out. What's going on, guys? Are you trying to tell me something?
Oh, you stop it.
Everything's going dark.
You're getting
Is this
swatted.
the end?
All right. Another question from Anthony then. What are some radically different Septs you've ran into or that you've ran yourself?
Well, I guess different to what? And since Anthony's still here, he can help me out with that. Different from what?
He's typing. He's got something. So apparently you've already answered.
Excellent.
I'm guessing with the 3 he was talking about, Anthony? Yes. Okay, so then with those 3, you answered that one then.
Yeah, pay attention, Danny. What the hell?
Well, hey, here's the good one from Strides about totem spirits of the Septs. How well do they interact or know of the actions that the Guru and the Sept take?
Well, I would make the argument that unless your totem's in bad shape or like weak or rather disinterested in the goings on of the Sept, and if the totem spirit is disinterested in the goings on of the Sept, there's a larger issue here.
Right.
I would say that they're very involved and very aware of what's happening under their roof, so to speak. I think maybe the spring off question of that is how much do they care, and I think that matters. That's based on the totems themselves.
Okay, that makes sense.
To give an example, during the Chronicle of the Guilty, I mentioned the Delacroix Sept, the Scratching Wolf. There was also the New Orleans proper, which was the Riverfront Sept, and that was run. It's a hotel, it's the Riverwalk Hotel. Really, you know it?
I do know it.
Yeah, it's where I used to stay when I go visit. So it's like, oh yeah, I know this one. I can do this easy. And so I made that. That's the cairn there, and it's Almighty Dollar is the totem.
Yes.
Yes, that is beautiful. I was going to ask what the totem was, and and that's way better than anything I would have thought of.
Well, thank you. But it also became a problem because the Guilty was a story about a lot of things, and a lot of things went on during it. But if you were to put it on the preview guide or TV guide, I got 4 words for it. It's vampire war. And that was creating a problem. So the hotel had to shut down because the city is goddamned on fire. And suddenly the hotel's not making money. So Almighty Dalla is pissed.
Right.
To the point, now this wasn't a mission for the players, but again, this is another thing I firmly believe in, that while the game is about you guys, the world does not revolve around you guys. Other people are doing other shit all the time. So while their pack is sent out over here to do this thing, you had the Calm, or rather the leader of the Calm, sending his people to rob a fucking bank a couple towns over so they can fill the tills in the goddamn Sept before Almighty Dollar goes apeshit.
Interesting.
And for those who didn't know, probably still don't, the Calm is another one of those packs who were staying at that Sept at that time.
Yeah, the Calm is one of my favorite NPC Septs. Or NPCs. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, because you've mentioned Jude. I'm sure on several occasions now. Jude Thunderfury. Jude is the alpha of that pack.
Yeah, he's got his boys, Doc, Stooley, and then there's another member that Danny doesn't know about.
Danny knows, Hunter doesn't, so we leave it out.
Oh, and then there was Eel Eye.
Right. Eel Eye. Because another story.
There's got to be a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to tell that story.
You know what? Fuck it. Do it. Just put it down.
It's one of those great moments to where, Porter, you're such a fucking hack. I'm going to share it with you guys. One of my very favorite shows is a show called Sports Dance by Aaron Sorkin. And this is very quick, but it's kind of important. And there was a conversation in one of the episodes of that show where the two anchors are talking about the Three Dog Night song Eli's Coming. And he's misunderstanding what the song's about. And so he's like, I always viewed Eli as a portent of something dark. And that always stuck with me, his misunderstanding of the song Eli's Coming. That idea that Eli is the portent of something dark. So, stuck with me all these years later. So I want to make new characters for the Calm. There's only the three of them. They need to expand their ranks. So I wanted to create this character, Eli, who would be that portent of something dark. Because, the name Calm, you say, oh, it's calm, but it's the Calm. They in themselves are a portent of something dark. So I designed this Eli character. And he shows up in the story that these guys are doing a thing, and they happen to run into the members of the Calm, sans Jude. Jude's off doing a thing. In fact, they got to pick him up from the airport later. And so there's this new guy. And, Tom's character, Crimson Ghost, arbitrarily kills off Eli.
Immediately.
It's like
I was waiting for you to say it. I was so happy.
It was the first thing. They didn't even realize they were dealing with the Calm yet.
No, because we were friends with the Calm, but we have never met that character, Eli, yet.
Gotcha.
So they just kill him, and I was so proud to finally have an Eli. But then I used his name.
Oh.
So what I did was I went, no, asshole, you heard me wrong. His name is Eel Eye.
Nice. Nice. I like it.
So he gets to keep Eli.
The laziest thing I've ever done just to keep a name.
Oh man, it was so funny at the time. Oh, okay.
We actually talked about that earlier, Kat. That's exactly it. The Sept is the people, the carrier is the place. That's a really great way to put it. You put that better than I did.
Yeah, that really helped separate it for me because I was confused on that.
Yeah, that was very succinct. That's
Okay. Got another one from Anthony here then. How strict do you, or would you run the Tail Singer with your Sept's Galliards and including your player characters?
Man, I would fucking love to have a Galliard. I can't answer that question because no one will do it.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're such a good storyteller. No one wants to be a Galliard to be a storyteller.
It sucks, man. I want to help. I'd help, but no one wants to. And you know what? I don't. It's kind of like we said in the third episode. We give a love to Galliards too. Is those are the two auspices that they are the most work. And I'm not gonna lie. If Danny, you decided to roll a Galliard, you roll Sings for today. The Get a Fenris Scald tomorrow. Why not?
Interesting, but okay.
Yeah, if you tomorrow make Sings for today. Yeah, I'm going to expect you to know Craigor Wormfoe and the Death Bear. I'm going to expect you to know the prophecy of the Phoenix. And, you don't maybe not exactly Kregar Wormfoe and the Death Bear. It's just I like that story, but I expect you to know the prophecy of the Phoenix. I expect you to be able to fucking tell it. Even if you're reading from notes, but I expect you to tell it because you're a Galliard and that's your goddamn job. Yeah. So maybe very strict is the answer, but there's a level of intent that's important and a level of effort that's important. I won't bust your balls for being like a bad poet because you're not a poet. It's did you try?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I've been playing music since I was a kid. I'm not a vocalist by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think I'd ever want to play a Galliard just because there's that responsibility that comes with that.
You're right. It's a huge responsibility. And then, not only that, but like our group specifically, we have to go up against Porter, who's already naturally good at that kind of thing.
Well, it's not a fucking rap battle.
No, but
there's
it's
you
an
still
intimidation factor.
Exactly, and you want to do it justice. You want to be as inspiring to the players around the table as your character is to the rest of the pack.
I can appreciate that standpoint. And maybe, and I don't know because I haven't hit a Galliard since, but maybe I'm a little too strict on it. I don't know. I just know, and I'm not sure if I told this story before, but if I did, too bad. Once upon a time, and this was maybe 15 years ago. It was my last group in Michigan before I left Michigan, and they were at the Moot, and they're telling their stories. And this was still when I was still rolling for outcome on the social shit. I don't do that anymore. And he gets up and he goes to tell a story. This was Aiden Coldfire Calhoun, the Fianna Galliard, still remember. And he goes to tell a story, and I am paraphrasing, but only barely. We fought some worm creatures, and there's some spirals there, and we took them out, I guess.
He ended with, I guess.
That's the worthier part, yes. He ended with, I guess. And I rolled these dice, and there was like 6 fucking 10s. This story ended up in the silver record. A story that ends with, I guess, is now in the silver record.
Oh, no.
And I went, yeah, not anymore. That's the last time we do it that way.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's right there next to Albrecht in the 7th generation. The tale of I guess.
I guess.
That's got to be a totem. I guess.
I'm writing that down. Save that for later.
Holy shit.
All right. Well, I got a few more questions, and these are ones Porter's been waiting for.
All right.
You know what's coming. We're going to go with the pronunciation.
Okay.
A lot. You'll hear a lot of people say Garu, Geru, and Porter, you pronounce it Garu. Why?
Well, I pronounce it Garu because I seem to remember. And here's the rub: is I remember it, but I can never find it.
Okay.
I heard a beep. Is everything cool?
Tom is listening in now.
Oh yeah, what's up, Tom? Yeah, you can join us in the live show chat. You are muted, sir. I can never find the damn thing. Like I always think it's in this book. It's not, but there was one of the 3rd edition books came with like a little fact, and like it talked about the different aspects, or is there a hidden 6th auspice? Just questions people had over the years, and one of them was the correct pronunciation of the word, and I am willing to put like $10 down that it's Garu. But the thing is, I can't remember what the fuck book it came from.
It's there somewhere.
I think it's Player's Guide to the Garu, but it might be Storytellers 3.
Well, I've always looked at it like because I say Garu, close, but not the same. But I look at it like dialects. People in the English language, we have the same words, but if you go to Jersey, it's going to be said different than in Virginia, or Texas, or something like that. So I've never really particularly put that much concern behind it.
Well, I think largely I agree with you. And the exceptions that I think I make exceptions in cases where they have gone to the trouble to spell it out for us.
Right. I got you.
Because I agree. Ultimately, is there a difference between Garu and Geru and Guru? Not really. It is. It becomes a regional thing. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
Right.
So from Garu to the auspice Around, and why that way and not Arun?
That's a personal preference. For me, Arun sounds like a fucking cartoon sound effect. I hear Arun and I picture those old Tex Avery cartoons. They're usually like Little Red Riding Hood, where she's the lounge singer. She got the hourglass figure. There's the wolf in the zoot suit. It's like his eyes go big, and his tongue's rolling on the ground.
Yep, and because it's the long snout, the Aru.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of sounds like a Holy shirt, but it also to me sounds like a fucking cartoon noise. Where Achrown, to me, that's something that just I kind of spat at you. Like that's an angry guttural sound. It's like I just did something. That's almost an assault at that point. So I think which one is more appropriate for the warrior caste of a warrior race, the cartoon sound or the anger spit at you thing?
I think it's pretty fair.
I think so.
I'm not saying I'm right. It's just where my heart is.
I'm going to seal the deal on me never coming back on the show, even in times of severe crisis, and tell you why I cannot say around or around. Yeah, I can't even say it like that. The first time I heard that, we were discussing an Arun, as I would say, from the Get of Fenris. So somebody said it was a Get Around, and all I could hear was the Beach Boys song.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No.
I'll go ahead and log out, guys. It was really great being on the show. I appreciate it. And I thank you guys for letting me hang out as long as you have. I'll see myself out.
We actually don't do that yet. We have a special box for you to get in.
I'm getting ready to be cased, aren't I?
I can't confirm that sort of thing. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, nice one, Billy. Nice callback.
That was ridiculous. Well done.
His own callback, nevertheless.
Yeah, Billy was the one who came up with the term casing.
I'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's the Achround verse Arun, and that's just a personal. It's where I stand on it. I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong in this case, though.
I think that it kind of goes along the same lines of Sam Hyatt versus Sam Hate.
Yeah, it's one of those where maybe Sam Hate. I know I'm wrong. I know I'm saying the word wrong, and I just don't care. Achround could go either way, but again, I think anger over cartoon.
And that's what I mean by it.
I always thought it was Sam Hati.
I've never heard that before.
That's because I just made it up right then.
Well done.
Good job, then.
Well played. He's earning his spot back. He didn't want to get cased. That's what's happening.
I'm trying to sidestep the case really, really, really strong.
Oh, do we got anything else?
Got a couple people asking or typing in here. Maybe they got some questions.
We got Tom. Don't listen to anything Tom says. He's just going to try to waylay the fucking show.
Tom, I know you're in chat. I am trying to represent the Ragabash since you weren't here for the start of the show.
Tom's a little surly.
That's okay.
I see what we're a little what an hour mark, little over an hour, Danny. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have a Cubs corner question because this entire episode was questions.
Oh, I was going to say I don't know how you're sitting. I'm okay to go a little bit longer though.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if these guys have questions, we're answering them. All right, immediately, right from Cathadian here. Then, I apologize if I said it wrong, but I've got one for you. When you were writing a setting how do you draw the line between funny character ideas and serious ideas?
I don't know that I use the funny ones. I mean, I mean, I don't want to say definitively, but I'm thinking about it. Do I have wacky characters, Danny?
I mean, I wouldn't go wacky.
Yeah, no one said wacky, but you know what I'm saying. I'm looking down the list. I'm like, hey, do I do that? I don't know that I do.
I think that like with werewolf, the tone doesn't lend itself to funny. I mean, you can do that if you want, but the humor that I find when I play werewolf is usually almost like gallows humor.
Yeah, and I think and then that's tricky too. Is I think I've written characters to try to be funny, like they're making jokes and shit. And I know that there have been situations where a character, and I mean this happens in television too. And I know Tom knows it's a pet peeve of mine where a character over the years will get written and be more of an exaggeration of themselves, and that drives me fucking ape shit.
You can't force that. You can't force humor. If something's funny, it's going to naturally be funny. And if you try to write it to be funny, I just feel like it's going to come across as not natural, and then you're selling the whole game short.
Well, I mean, I probably agree. I mean, what I'm talking in that first example is more like maybe the occasional one-liner or a joke to another player, and you flip a coin at that point.
Oh, but that's natural in the moment, then, yeah.
But the second example I was bringing up, I think a good example I could give would be the character Rune Alterone, who I think Rune might be the best example. Yeah,
probably. I think I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, this was a character who he's just a sick fucker. He's straight up. He's a murderer, and he happens to be an Ahram Glasswalker. But if he wasn't, he would have still been a fucking serial killer. He's not okay. He has a propensity and talent for violence, and it gets him off. And it became a point is he was also a massive jackass. But as he would show up as an NPC, like the characters kind of loved him. Like the players kind of loved the character, because he's on our side though, so we're forgiving all the abhorrent shit he is and does. And it would get to the point where, he's in the other room getting... I am not looking at that question right now because I would just focus on that question. We're gonna talk about it. I can't look at that question right now.
I think it's more of a building on the question you're trying to answer.
No, right, but I'm just gonna read the question, so I'm looking away from the monitor.
Yeah.
I just whited it out. I just whited out over it. You don't have to worry about it.
To get back to it, yes, right into that question. What it ended up happening though is because people liked Rune, and it became, the violence became more comical. His attitude became more comical, and he suddenly shifted into a comic relief character, just subtly. And it's like, what the fuck is this? And once I saw it happen, I made very, very concerted efforts to make that shift back to, this isn't someone you laugh at. This is a tragic human fucking being. This is a damaged person that cannot control himself, and so that was how that went about. And I mean, I think that was as close as I feel, but now I'm going to look at this new question. Maybe I can do a better job answering. No, I generally don't. I generally take those and I take them and I swing them back toward a darker route. And I think, funnily enough, the end piece of that Rune Alterone thing might help with that point, is because when I made that effort to kind of make sure he's to be taken seriously again, right? I had this. I don't know if I still have it, but I wrote it up at one point. It was kind of just like a little short thing about him and how, he comes back from a job and he takes off this blood-soaked suit and he's shaking, and he's not in shock, but he's just shaking, and it's the adrenaline and it's the excitement, but he's not, he can't control it. And what does he do? Is he strips down the shit and he's in his fucking, penthouse apartment or whatever, because he doesn't do this shit for free. And what does he do is he goes to his kitchen and he pours himself a bowl of cereal and walks to his living room and puts on the VHS he has waiting for him, because these are, I set my games predominantly in the 90s. So it's a VHS of The Cosby Show, which in this day and age is a little bit, I guess, unfortunate, but that's not the connotations we're going here. But it's The Cosby Show was such a vanilla program. It's that boring slice of life. Everything is normal. Everything is safe. There's no edge to that show. I mean, again, today you look at it through a different lens, but in the era, there's no edge to that fucking show. It's just wholesome. And so here's this guy, stark raving naked, except for like the blood stains on the exposed parts of his body, eating cornflakes, watching The Cosby Show to get some kind of grasp on reality, to settle himself back into some level of normalcy, because he's so fucked up he can't do it himself.
Wow.
Interesting.
So just not even, I wouldn't even go garbage, but just something completely opposite of what he's been doing, just to get his mind off of it.
Yeah, just to try to function as a human being again, to kind of reset himself. Another example, this is another character that was kind of a joke, or at least kind of on the range of Chase's Street Demons, actually. And this is the saga of Kurt Blood of More Blood.
Everyone's favorite.
This is another one of those, Porter, you're such a fucking hack. As I was going through my original Bible and I'm coming up with character names and character ideas, and I'm just riffing, boom, here's bloodstains the walls, boom, here's, just naming, this is a name, I'm going to come back to it later. Or this is a thought, I'm going to come back to it later. Just a couple words in a line, pass. And I'm just going, I'm going, Kurt Blood of, and I get stuck. More blood? America at everything. I stop and I look at what I've just done.
And call yourself a hack again.
Yeah, I actually, the description of that character is you're a hack, Porter. And I get up and I walk away. And I was like, we're done with this exercise today. Holy shit. And what happened with that character is I decided, just for shits and grins, what do you do with it? And the idea was, he's a menace, and he is just like huge size merit. He has got strength for days. He is just the Warriors type warrior, but he has the brain capacity of a 4-year-old.
Oh, damn.
And he thinks that's an awesome name.
So you kept Blood of More Blood.
Kept Blood of More Blood. Because he thinks it's the coolest name there is, and ain't no one gonna argue with him about it. And so it was, blood. And that was kind of the joke, kind of for a bit. He was a real character, but there was, so maybe this is the example we're looking for, Kath. But what I ended up doing with him is, even then, I did the same thing I did with fucking Renalteron. He was Kurt Blood of Iron, and then he got into a fight with a pack of spirals, and he survived, but now he's not Kurt Blood of Iron anymore. Now maybe this is what happens when you pick a fight and don't think about it.
It's a crazy way to think about it.
Can we back up for a second? I came up with a question based on I can't remember the guy's name, the serial killer eating the cornflakes watching the Cosby Show, that character.
Yes, Rune Elteron.
Rune.
Okay, Rune, you said that you found him going slightly comical, and when you realized that, you decided you were going to make efforts to walk that back. At any point would you, how can I phrase this? At any point would you consider staying the course with the comedic, and then turn it on the players or the characters as to why they find something so abhorrent so funny, and make it like an opportunity for some introspection on the characters' parts?
That isn't something I have done, but that's a really good idea. And especially, I think I wouldn't have done it with Rune. I mean, had I thought of it at the time, I wouldn't have done it with Rune, because this is a guy they should probably be afraid of. But that's a really good point. And
because you're like normalizing a monster. So does that mean you're becoming the monster, more of a monster yourself, kind of thing?
Let's not mince words about this. Every member of the Gyro Nation is a monster.
Exactly.
Change at the moon. I mean, because you get black bagged and brought to a cairn and taught how to murder people, and then are rewarded on your efficiency of murdering.
Right, of course. But again, it's almost like you don't want to turn into what you're fighting. Like the Gyros still are supposed to maintain that balance, and as you go further and further and further down that dark road, more towards the worm, then you want to avoid that. I'm just totally just riffing off the top of my head here. So tell me to shut up.
No, it's a good idea. I don't want to say, there's probably that goes, yeah, and I might steal it at some point, but I don't want us to be in a situation where a character becomes comic relief accidentally again.
I got you.
I had that problem again with the character of Nathaniel Owens in the Virginia games, and I corrected that very real way when I brought him to Michigan.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, thank you for indulging me that. I just thought of that when you were going through his story, but I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
No, I think that's great.
All right, well, got another one from Anthony then. What kind of recommendations do you have for storytellers creating a Sept?
Excellent. Okay. And let's make this, let's do the last guy here.
This is the last one? All right. Kath just threw one more in there too, so maybe you can throw them. You can maybe do them together.
No, I'll do Kath's, and then we'll go back to Anthony because that's a larger question, and I like that. I feel like that's a good ending question.
That's fair.
So, how many do I tend to have running at one time? I will generally have an A and a B plot going, and if I am feeling saucy or there is room for it, I'll put just like a little dash, just a little pinch of future shit. But it's never the thing. In The Guilty, that was, these guys' second chronicle. I was foreshadowing something I still haven't used yet. It sucks because they're not going to remember it, and I already know they're not going to.
I have an idea.
You do? What is it? You do not.
Fear.
Off. Where did you read about that?
You kidding me? It was in my notes. I kept a ton of notes.
You shit, fine.
And Tom says the arsonist, and no, Tom, you're wrong. The arsonist was Sekhmet Rainmaker.
It says oddly shaped feet. That's what he was.
Because he has oddly shaped feet. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet.
Drunk Tom was looking for my Anchorman warm-up shit. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet.
But again, I kept a lot of notes, especially for that chronicle.
Yeah, fine. I foreshadowed fear in the second chronicle, and now we're on like the fourth, and I still have not used them yet.
Now, I know what fear stands for, but they don't. I guarantee Tom has no clue what fear is.
That's fine, because those of you with Book of the Worm 20, just don't worry about it.
Tom's typing in. What's Tom got?
Alcohol poisoning.
All right. Well, then I think Anthony's storyteller Sept one there. That I think that's your last one, and you said it's a pretty big one. So
yeah, I like that question. Run that back to me again, so I get the full scope before talking out of my ass.
What recommendations do you have for storytellers creating a Sept?
Okay. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and cool. Location can be important. The totem can be important. I mean, I don't think there's any one thing that's most important. You want to look at what you need and in the scope of the Sept itself. Excuse me a second. Is this going to be a home Sept? Is this going to be a temporary thing? If this is home, right, then your focus should instantly be about the cast, because the Gyro Nation is ultimately a family, and whether or not you're going to treat it that way, that elder that's going to be right up your ass the whole time, that's like crazy Uncle Mickey, whether or not you make a joke of that, like I did, but they're going to be in those characters' lives is my point, and on the regular. And so that cast needs to be firm. It needs to be strong. And you don't get too in love with those characters that you're not willing to change things or kill people, because that's where we are. Your Werewolf the Apocalypse, shit is going to happen. When you're choosing your totem, ideally you want it to have a relationship. I mean, you need it to have a relationship with members of the Sept, especially your Thurges and your elders. And so think about how that totem will influence and how that relationship, whatever it may be, you think about that between the characters and the totem. You definitely want to draw your layout. And I'm just going to go on a limb and assume you have access to the Cairn book, which is not, strictly speaking, a great resource. But the thing about that book is you have the overhead drawings of the septs of the different cairns, and that's something you want to have one of those for yours. You want to have the idea of the climate, especially if your people are living on Sept. Things like in the Summer Rain, they had carved a man-made stream down to a lake, because you need water, and that stream. I mean, you're in a mountainous region, so there are hills, and there happens to be this little nook where like three hills kind of converge to make this little nook, and it happens to be right near where the stream passes. So when there's a heavy rain, that area kind of floods out, and in that Sept they call that the puppy pit, and that's where they make the Claius sleep. Because it sucks. And little details like that go a long way. Understand how the kinfolk work around that Sept, and how, things like we mentioned earlier, again, with the Summer Rain, where, they're taught to run the bond, and they think they're running the bond, and that's important. But in the meantime, the elders already know what the fuck's going on. It's the small details that bring it to life, and life is what you want these Septs to have. I mean, it's what you want everywhere. You want this to be as real a world as possible. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue with that. But especially if the Sept is home, and if it's not home, if it's a temporary thing, focus on the ways that it's not like home.
You got more?
I was just going to say, was that even close to what you were looking for, Anthony?
That was a pretty solid answer.
Well, because I get to yes.
Anthony says yes.
Good. I get to yapping, so this happen. You know how it is, guys. But I think that closes the book at our first live show. How do you guys feel about it?
It was a lot of fun.
We were recording.
Oh, Billy.
I had a blast doing this. I think this was a fun fucking time. I want to thank you guys for being here for it and participating. And Billy, I know you waited just like a long ass time for us to get this thing up and running, and so I appreciate that a lot.
I'm just happy to have been able to help out, and I'm super duper honored that I was allowed to participate. It was a lot of fun. It was everything I had imagined it would be.
Glad you had fun too, Billy. It's as we call him, we won't even call him the number one fan. We'll call him the first fan.
Ooh, that's like Captain America, the first Avenger. I like it.
A little bit.
Fine, yeah, sure.
I'm going to change my nickname in Discord to just Cap.
I gotta say, we aired those first two episodes, and we're like, hey, if you like, email in whatever, and like immediately we got that email from you. You were the first person to email in, and that stuck with us. So it just felt fitting that you were the third mic here.
Well, like I told you, and I won't belabor this point too long, but when I first heard the first show, it felt natural. It felt like you guys really, like there was great camaraderie around the table. You could hear it. It wasn't forced. It was very natural, and it felt like you guys were just sitting down talking about something that you really, really cared about. And it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like pretense. It didn't feel like you were doing this because you wanted to become internet famous or anything like that. It felt like you genuinely cared about the game. And I wanted to thank you for that because I've been looking for this for a long time. So thank you guys for putting this together.
Yeah, it means a lot, man. It's we're glad to do it. We just wanted to share it. No, at least that's my take on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love this fucking game, and to be able to sit here and jaw about it and have people give a shit is amazing all by itself. But we're doing what we do, and now I feel terrible because we're gonna have to do a little shilling at the end here. Oh, what an asshole!
Tom said he's gonna cry. I think it's because he couldn't be on the episode.
Well, it's because Billy said something nice and heartfelt, you prick. Were you not paying attention?
Oh, Billy was talking? Shit, sorry, bud. What? Can you repeat that?
Well, I balled up the script you gave me, Danny. Sorry, I threw it away.
You better give me that $10 back then, too.
Oh, perfect. No, but thank you guys for being a part of this. This was a fun little experiment, and it's definitely something I want to do more of. Hopefully, this audio comes out in the wash.
Yeah, please. Hopefully.
Because this is a thing, because this is going to air, and this will be our Tuesday show. Fingers crossed on the audio.
You and me both.
I do. Right. I do want to say, if you guys, if everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our listening as much as we had fun putting this on. This was a blast tonight. Come hit us up on our Discord. This is where we did the show.
Yeah, if you're not part of the Discord yet, you are missing out, because anyone part of the Discord, this was live, and these people got pretty much a sneak peek of Tuesday's episode.
We're here for it. Yeah, I mean, you should still download, please.
Yeah, still download Tuesday because it'll be a lot of fun. But hey,
yeah, you're here for it. This is the one you guys were on.
I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I wasn't in Discord earlier when Porter was like, "We may need to re-record a show." So get Discord people. You could be in the hot seat one day.
It's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, come and join our Discord, and the link to that is through our forums, which is also a free thing. So look at that. You know where you found us. Keep finding us. If you like what you hear, tell a friend. And let's not forget the contest. By the time you've heard this, the contest has already started. The rules and the details will be up on the forums just in case you forgot. I don't want to go over them. I don't want to take too much time because I don't that I'm shilling now. We had this heartfelt moment. Now I'm shilling. I feel terrible. But the contest is there. That'll be the rest of the month. Again, thank you guys so much. And on behalf of everyone in the Discord, not Summer Rain Studio, thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time, and be excellent to each other.
See you, everybody.
Bye.